Hey everyone, I'm Eneko, and today it's the third Tomodachi Life Living the Dream video in a row. But I'm sure you guys don't mind. Actually, I think you guys love these videos. And today I would like to talk about some things that I noticed in the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream direct that I think maybe not everyone noticed. Now, I don't just want to point out things like that. I actually want to go a bit deeper into some of these things. Also, no VTuber ball today because my phone is dead, so I can't really track my face, and I just really wanted to record this now, so you'll get some kind of PNG version of myself. I don't know. I'll figure out something. Anyway, let's get into it, and maybe we should get the biggest out of the way, which is the concert hall. Alert! Kidnapping alert! Missing alert! The concert hall is missing. Everybody, the concert hall is nowhere to be seen. And some people have been saying that they simply didn't show it. And, you know, considering we saw other buildings which didn't get a proper introduction, such as, I believe, the Tomoya restaurant, there's this one treasure shop, and another thing which was, I think it's the place where you sell your treasures. They didn't get a proper introduction. However, they were actually shown when we got a drone view of multiple islands. They were actually shown, whereas the concert hall was shown nowhere. Hello, Editing Eneko here. I just noticed while editing this video that it seems like we can put multiple times the same shop in a single island. I don't know why it took me so long to notice it, and I don't even know if it was really worth mentioning, but now you know. And I feel like something as big as the concert hall wouldn't have not gotten a proper introduction. Let me rephrase that. I feel like something as big as the concert hall would have gotten an actual introduction if it was in the game, because I mean, Nintendo aren't dumb. They know that the concert hall was a big selling point of the 3DS game, and it would have also been a big selling point of the Switch game. So it's not a very good marketing strategy to not show it. Also, something that maybe you guys didn't notice is the fact that when choosing where a Mii confesses, the concert hall isn't an option anymore. There is, however, an island spot option, but I think this is more for outdoors confessions, because indoor confessions seem to have their own options, such as the Tomoya restaurant, or I believe Miis can now confess at their place. Here's the reason why I think the concert hall isn't in the game, and I think you guys might have to prepare for this. I think they removed the Mii's capacity to sing, and I know that is a big statement to make, and please hear me out before you kill me. No. Let's not get there. Let's go back to the confessing menu, but this time not the location, but the way Amy confesses. The option to sing their love isn't there anymore, which was the only time Amy could sing outside of the concert hall. Well, Mies could, I guess, also sing while taking a bath, but that was more like humming. And so the singing option got replaced with as a surprise, which I'm not really sure how that would go. I guess they would like have a typical conversation, and then suddenly the Mii goes, "I love you. Marry me." Now, some people speculate that the reason why there isn't the concert hall anymore is because Nintendo wants to limit how much control we have over the Mii speech, and that would make sense considering their recent message about the limitation of the image sharing feature in the game, as well as the Mii sharing feature, which, okay, honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but I personally kind of like the fact that we're going to have to go back to traditional Mii tutorials on YouTube. I think it's a great way to kind of get the players bonding together, you know, make the fandom stronger. Some people might find it annoying, and I understand why, but for me, I think, you know, yeah, sometimes tradition doesn't hurt, right? And so overall, the current theory is that Nintendo doesn't want people to create Miis based off of real people and have them say offensive things. And yeah, it tracks. However, there is one tiny detail that completely makes this argument irrelevant, is that we still have control over what Mii say. Now, yes, most of the time when we get to choose what a Mii says, it's only a tiny bit of a sentence, whereas songs had a pretty big word limit unlike any other part of the game. Except when confessing their love. Honestly, I don't know if you guys realize how useful these 40 miserable seconds of the direct were. It was a gold mine for this part of the video. So basically, my point is, just like in the past game, we have the option to make Miis confess with a full custom sentence. And unlike song lyrics, where the game usually had the Miis say the 4 last words of the lyric in like 4 milliseconds just so it fit the song, here Miis have the time to say the sentence fully and clearly. So if Nintendo truly didn't want to give us full control over what Mii say, they wouldn't have brought back this option. Also, if that really was their issue, then why can't Miis confess with the song, since when they did that, we didn't get to choose what they'd say? In reality, I believe the reason Miis can't sing is because their new voice synthesizer doesn't let them. I don't think I'm the only one who noticed that Nintendo somehow managed to improve the Mii's voice while keeping the same quirky, low quality but adorable side of it. And honestly, thank goodness, because I mean it's a part of the game's whole charm. And now there's a lot more personality to the ways Mii speak.
Tell me, Dr. Winters, did you see that report on TV yesterday? The one about monster trucks?
When is the game coming out?
No, it's my fault. Are you okay?
Yeah, I usually end up crying when I go to the movies. I don't know.
But unfortunately, I fear the price for this improvement was their capacity to sing. The previous game also had different voices, sure, but they were relatively the same, at least in terms of delivery, right? Now they're much more diverse, whereas before they had pretty much the same way of speaking. There were only changes to the speed and the pitch. However, in this sequel, because everybody speaks so differently, I think somehow they couldn't figure out how to neutralize their voices in order to make them sing. Maybe they could just turn off the delivery setting. I don't know, okay? I'm not a professional at voice synths. You're listening to a teenager in his bedroom, okay? Don't trust me. That's the message that I'm trying to convey. Do not trust me. All right. But anyway, so in the end, they either didn't show the concert hall for some strange reason and they just want to keep it as a surprise, or the new voice synth really just can't sing, which is kind of sad because I feel like most players would have preferred to keep the old voices and still be able to make songs. Anyway, that took so much time from the video. Let's get to the rest of the stuff. Let's stay in the topic of stuff that disappeared. The leaderboard, office, and town hall did not get shown either, but honestly, I believe that will just probably in a separate menu. I think at the bottom right corner of the screen, there is this little icon with 3 lines. That's probably where all the stats will be. Also, no hat shop, but it got merged with the clothing shop in Where and Where. When choosing the way you want to create a Mii, you can either do it with questions, create from scratch, or import a Mii from your Switch, which makes sense. But there is a 4th option, which is creating a Mii based off of another Mii on the island. What does that mean? Is it some kind of way to copy-paste Miis? I guess that's cool if you want to make twins, but other than that, I don't really see the use of it. If that really is what it is, maybe I misunderstood the option, but to me, I feel like creating a Mii based on another Mii is, I mean, it's copy-paste. Yeah, next point. By the way, I wondered if everyone in the island is attracted to one gender, but only one Mii of that gender is present. Oh, the drama. Oh, the drama. And you know what? If, unlike Animal Crossing, they let us create one island per account, I'll probably make an island just to test stuff out, because I want to see how the game will react to only one contestant being present on the island. Actually, now that I think about it, I could probably just lead this experiment on 3DS as well by making either male or female Miis and then creating one Mii of the opposite gender. Also, now Miis don't have a favorite color anymore. Their house's interior and exterior, as well as their default outfit, is based off of their personality type, which does make sense considering that it was the same thing in 3DS. I mean, their interior was based off of their personality type. The only thing that was really influenced by their favorite color was their default outfit, which I mean, I think most of us quickly replaced. And in any case, we'll get to change the house's color, so that's whatever. Now, this might be a insignificant detail to some, but for me, that's interesting to point out. Miis will now either call you caretaker in the UK or leader in the United States of America. I personally prefer caretaker, but I'll be playing the American version, so anyway. But yeah, now they'll call you either of those names and not a lookalike of the first Mii created. And why is that important? Well, thank you so much for asking. The past game clearly encouraged players to create their first Mii based on themselves, and then the rest of the island to be populated with Miis based off of their social circle, right? Friends, family, acquaintances, teachers, whatever. But some players prefer to create Miis based off of pop culture characters or OCs. So in consequence, their first Mii might not be themselves, and so the title lookalike of doesn't make sense anymore, and it kind of no, I'm not a lookalike. And to me, the fact that the player's title got replaced to not link them to any me gives me the impression that Nintendo really wants to give us full control over the way we play. I mean, for example, in the Direct, it seems like we're following somebody's OC. I mean, the narrator never referred to Angie as being herself or an acquaintance. It was a original character.
Let's try creating a college student. She'll appear as a character throughout the Direct.
And so, you know, that's nice to have full control over the way we want to play, and I love that. We love that. When Angie got gifted clothing, she changed in a full outfit. Now, what does this mean? It might mean that now we get to gift multiple pieces of clothing at once, because we've seen that socks, pants, shoes, hats, tops, everything is separated. So either we get to mix and match an outfit and then gift it to the me, or we can only gift pre-made outfits and then we'll get to mix and match the pieces together in the clothing setting. Next point, now the game puts a much bigger emphasis on relationships in the game. Actually, let me rephrase that because relationships have always been a big part of the game. I mean that relationship statuses seem to be more important now, because unlike the 3D game where the relationship statuses were kind of hidden in a menu in Mii's apartments, now they directly appear on screen whenever two Miis interact. We get how a Mii feels about another and how another feels about the other, and yeah. Now, I kind of want to go over the fact that Mocha was the one to ask to, I believe somebody in my comments said that the correct verb was cohabitate. Is that, let me check if that's right. Cohabitate. Yes. Thank you, person from the internet. Mocha was the one to ask to cohabitate with Angie despite being less attached to her as she is to him. So it seems like certain events don't necessarily have to happen from the person who is on the more attached end, but it can rather happen whenever both Miis reach a certain level of friendship on both sides, or maybe it can only happen on one side and then they can get rejected by their friend to be their roommate. That way, actually, that would be really interesting. That would be really fun if Miis could not only get rejected romantically but also platonically. Actually, that would... Wait, do you guys think they're gonna do that? Do you guys think they're gonna add like platonic rejections? Considering Miis could get rejected after apologizing after an argument, that would actually make sense if they could get rejected when asking to be roommates with somebody else. Oh, I'm excited to see. All right, two last points which aren't very important. These are just two things I noticed, and I think it's, you know, I guess it's worth mentioning. The food court has a brush icon. Now, is that linked to the Palette House shop that lets players customize certain items of food? Or is that completely different? I don't know. I mean, I don't really see the point in having two shops that can give the exact same service. So I feel like that's probably a separate thing that we didn't get to see. I don't know. And very last point, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream seems to have a signature pattern now. And to me, I thought they were just random shapes that were meant to mimic the typical 80s patterns, if you see what I mean. But actually, they are facial features of Mii's. And I think it's kind of funny. I think it's a really nice detail. But also help, it's kind of giving the Dark Lord from Miitopia with all these facial features getting stolen. Somebody call the cops. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Or maybe you just skip to the end, in which case I hate you. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!